Marcus wiped the sweat from his forehead as he finished installing the last solar panel on the roof of the apartment building. The twin suns of Kepler 442b beat down mercilessly, their orange light making everything look like it was bathed in amber. He had been working on this job for 3 days straight, and his human endurance was beginning to show its limits. Below him, he could hear the familiar clicking sounds of his landlady, HFY, as she moved through the building's corridors. The Vorthak female had rented him the small apartment on the building's top floor 6 months ago, and their relationship had been strictly professional. She collected rent, he paid it, and they rarely spoke beyond the necessary pleasantries. Marcus climbed down the ladder carefully, his toolbox clanging softly against each rung. The building housed 12 different alien species, making it one of the more diverse residential complexes in New Geneva Colony. As a human, he was definitely the minority here, but the rent was cheap and the location was perfect for his electrical work contracts. Human Marcus, came the distinctive chittering voice of HFY as he reached the ground floor. Her forearms were folded across her chitinous chest, and her compound eyes reflected the afternoon light like tiny mirrors. The Kelleran family in Unit 7 says their power coupling failed again. Marcus nodded, setting down his toolbox. I'll take a look at it tomorrow morning. Probably just needs a new stabilizer. HFY's mandibles clicked in what he had learned was her version of acknowledgement. They are frustrated. This is the 3rd time this month. Yeah, I know, Marcus sighed. The problem is these buildings weren't designed for human electrical systems. Everything here runs on quantum resonance, but human tech uses good old-fashioned electrons. Sometimes there's interference. The Vorthak landlady tilted her head, studying him with those multifaceted eyes. You work with both systems? Have to. It's the only way to make everything compatible. Marcus picked up his toolbox again. Most electricians on this planet only know one system or the other. Humans stick to human tech, aliens stick to their quantum stuff. But, living in a mixed building like this, you learn to adapt. HFY made a soft humming sound that Marcus couldn't interpret. Interesting. As Marcus headed toward the elevator, he noticed something odd. The building's main power distribution panel was flickering slightly, the alien symbols on its display showing warning indicators. He frowned and approached it. When did this start acting up? He asked. HFY's 4 eyes swiveled to look at the panel. 3 days ago. I contacted a Vorthak technician, but he said the quantum matrix was stable. He could not find the problem. Marcus studied the readouts, his mind automatically translating the alien symbols he had memorized over months of working with similar systems. The quantum resonance was indeed stable, but there was something else. A subtle pattern in the energy flow that didn't match standard Vorthak engineering. Mind if I take a look? He asked. HFY's mandibles clicked rapidly, which Marcus had learned indicated surprise. You understand Vorthak electrical systems? Enough to get by. Marcus opened his toolbox and pulled out a modified scanner he had built himself. It was part human multimeter, part quantum resonance detector, and part jury-rigged alien tech he had reverse-engineered. This might help. As soon as he activated the scanner near the panel, the readings went crazy. The device detected not just the expected quantum patterns, but also several other energy signatures layered beneath them. Marcus frowned at the display. That's weird, he muttered. What is weird? HFY moved closer, her compound eyes studying his scanner with obvious interest. Your building isn't just running on Vorthak quantum systems, Marcus explained, pointing to his scanner's readouts. There's at least 4 different alien power grids integrated here. Kelleran bioelectric, Xerian plasma conduits, Multari crystal matrices, and something else I don't recognize. HFY went very still. Even her constant background chittering stopped. That is, not possible, she said quietly. Well, it's happening. Marcus ran his scanner along the wall, following the hidden energy patterns. Whoever designed this building created some kind of unified power system that can handle multiple alien technologies simultaneously. The quantum resonance is just the top layer. He paused, looking at HFY's frozen posture. You didn't know about this, did you? The Vortak landlady's forearms moved in what Marcus recognized as a gesture of distress. I inherited this building from my predecessor. The technical specifications were incomplete. Marcus continued scanning, his excitement growing as he uncovered more layers of the hidden system. This is incredible. Do you have any idea how advanced this is? Most colonies can barely get two different alien power systems to coexist without interference. This building is running 6 different grids in perfect harmony. 6? ZYX-Thera's voice carried a note of alarm. Yeah, I'm detecting 2 more signatures deeper in the structure. And the integration work. Marcus shook his head in amazement. This would require someone who understands not just each individual system, but how they interact at a quantum level. That's expertise that doesn't exist anymore, not since the last of the architects disappeared. The architects. Even Marcus, relatively new to interstellar civilization, knew that name. The mysterious race that had built most of the galaxy's infrastructure before vanishing without a trace 3 centuries ago. Their technology was so advanced that modern science could barely maintain it, let alone replicate it. Human Marcus, ZYX-Thera said carefully, what would it take to repair such a system? Marcus looked up from his scanner. Repair it? I'd need to map the entire integration network first. Then, identify where the interference is coming from. Then. He trailed off as he realized what she was asking. You want me to fix an architect-level power system? The building has been having problems for months, ZYX-Thera admitted. Small failures, power fluctuations, system incompatibilities. 3 different alien technicians have examined it. All say their individual systems are functioning correctly. Because they are, Marcus said, understanding dawning. The problem isn't with any single system. It's with the integration layer that connects them all. And that's architect tech. ZYX-Thera's mandibles clicked rapidly. Can you comprehend such technology? Marcus looked down at his scanner, then back at the power panel. The challenge excited him more than anything had in months. I don't know. But I'd sure like to try. The compensation would be substantial. It's not about the money. Marcus grinned. This is the kind of problem that makes an engineer's career. If I could figure out how architect integration systems work. He trailed off, imagining the possibilities. ZYX-Thera studied him with those compound eyes. You are different from other humans I have observed. How so? Most species, when confronted with technology they do not understand, become frustrated or fearful. You become excited. Marcus shrugged. Problems are just puzzles that haven't been solved yet. The more complex the puzzle, the more satisfying it is to solve. Even when the puzzle was created by minds far more advanced than your own? Especially then. Marcus's grin widened. Besides, maybe human minds work differently enough to see patterns that other species miss. ZYX-Thera was quiet for a long moment, her forearms moving in what Marcus had learned was deep thought. Finally, she spoke. Very well, human Marcus. But this work must be discreet. If word spreads that this building contains architect technology, it would become a target, Marcus finished. Yeah, I get it. Lots of people would want to get their hands on functioning architect tech. Or destroy it, fearing what it might contain. Marcus nodded soberly. The galaxy was still divided on what had happened to the architects. Some believed they had ascended to a higher plane of existence. Others thought they had destroyed themselves with their own advanced technology. And a vocal minority insisted they were still out there somewhere, watching and waiting. So when do we start? Marcus asked. Tomorrow, ZYX-Thera said. But, first, there are things about this building you must know. Things I should have told you months ago. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Such as? ZYX-Thera's mandibles clicked nervously. This building was not simply inherited from my predecessor. It was assigned to me by the Galactic Council. As were you. What do you mean, assigned? The Council has been watching human technological adaptation with great interest, ZYX explained. Your species has only been part of galactic civilization for 50 years, yet you consistently demonstrate the ability to work with alien technologies that other species cannot integrate. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. So my living here wasn't a coincidence. No. The Council wanted to observe how a human would interact with this building's systems. They did not tell me the full extent of what was hidden here, only that it was significant. And, now that I've found it? ZYX's compound eyes reflected the building's soft lighting. Now we must decide what to do with knowledge that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. Marcus looked at his scanner, still displaying the complex energy signatures flowing through the building's walls. Whatever the architects had built here, it was far more than just a power system. It was a test, a challenge, and possibly a key to understanding the most advanced civilization the galaxy had ever known. Well, he said finally, I guess tomorrow is going to be an interesting day. As ZYX retreated to her own quarters and the building settled into evening quiet, Marcus remained in the lobby, studying his scanner readings. The more he looked at the data, the more convinced he became that this was just the beginning. The architects hadn't just integrated 6 different power systems here. They had created something entirely new. And, somehow, a human electrician from Earth was the first person to recognize it. Marcus spent the entire night in the building's basement, mapping energy flows with his modified scanner. By dawn, he had filled 3 notebooks with diagrams and discovered something that made his hands shake with excitement. The building wasn't just integrating 6 alien power systems. It was translating between them. ZYX, he called as she descended into the basement, carrying a steaming cup of what passed for coffee in Vortak culture. You need to see this. The Vortak landlady approached cautiously, her compound eyes taking in the chaotic spread of cables, diagnostic equipment, and scribbled notes that Marcus had assembled overnight. You have been working all night, she observed. Couldn't sleep. Look at this. Marcus pointed to a section of wall where he had carefully removed a panel, exposing the building's hidden infrastructure. See how the Kelleran bioelectric conduits connect to the Vortak quantum matrix? There's a translation layer between them. ZYX leaned closer, her mandibles clicking softly. Translation layer? Each alien species generates power differently, right? Kellerans use biological processes, Vortaks use quantum resonance, Zirions use plasma dynamics. Normally, these systems are completely incompatible. But, here. Marcus traced a finger along a crystalline structure that seemed to pulse with its own inner light. The architects built something that converts the energy signature from one type to another in real time. That should be impossible, ZYX said quietly. The mathematical complexity alone gets worse. Marcus grinned, despite his exhaustion. It's not just converting between known systems. It's adapting to new ones. When I moved into Unit 12, the system automatically analyzed my human electrical equipment and created a conversion protocol for it. ZYX's forearms moved in a gesture Marcus had never seen before, all pointing in different directions. The building learned? It's still learning. Watch this. Marcus connected his scanner to one of the exposed crystalline nodes. Immediately, the crystal began to pulse in a different rhythm. It's analyzing my scanner now, figuring out how to optimize power delivery for human technology it's never encountered before. By the void, ZYX whispered. This is not just architect technology. This is active architect intelligence. Marcus nodded grimly. That's what I'm afraid of. And, there's more. He led her to another section of the basement where he had uncovered what looked like a massive server farm, except the servers were made of the same crystalline material as the power converters. Data storage? ZYX asked. Data processing. The building isn't just learning about our technology. It's learning about us. Marcus pulled up readings on his scanner. Every conversation, every behavioral pattern, every technological innovation by the residents is being analyzed and catalogued. ZYX's mandibles clicked rapidly with alarm. For what purpose? That's what I've been trying to figure out. Marcus rubbed his tired eyes. But, I think I found something. Look at this power consumption pattern. He showed her a graph on his scanner. 3 days ago, when the system malfunction started, there was a massive spike in processing power. Something triggered an intensive analysis protocol. What could have triggered such a response? Marcus was quiet for a moment, then looked directly at HFY. Me. Specifically, me figuring out that there were multiple power systems integrated here. The building detected your discovery? More than that. It's been waiting for someone to discover it. All these months of minor malfunctions and system errors? They weren't accidents. The building has been testing its residents, trying to find someone capable of understanding what it really is. HFY backed away from the crystalline servers. And, you believe you are that someone? I think humans might be. And, I think that's exactly what the Galactic Council suspected when they arranged for me to live here. Marcus pulled up another set of readings. Look at this energy signature. It appeared right after I started my deep scan yesterday. The building is now running a massive parallel process, something it's never done before. Processing what? Human technological patterns. It's downloaded every piece of technical documentation available about human engineering, human problem-solving methods, human creativity patterns. It's trying to understand how we think. HFY's compound eyes reflected the pulsing light of the crystalline nodes. Why would architect technology be interested in human thought patterns? Marcus had been dreading this question all night, because he thought he knew the answer. Because humans do something that other species don't. We adapt. All species adapt to survive. Not the same way. Marcus gestured at his jury-rigged equipment, the modified scanner that no engineer from any other species could have built. When humans encounter a problem we can't solve with our existing knowledge, we don't just try harder. We think differently. We approach it from angles that don't make logical sense to other species. Chaotic thinking. Creative thinking. Innovative thinking. Marcus's voice grew excited as the pieces fell into place. Every other species in the galaxy follows logical progression. If A plus B equals C, then, they build on C to reach D. Humans? We might skip straight to Q and work backwards. HFY was quiet for a long moment, processing this. You believe the architects designed this building specifically to study human innovation? I think the architects knew they were going to disappear, Marcus said quietly. And, I think they left behind technology designed to find their replacement. The implications hung in the air between them like a live wire. If Marcus was right, then, this building wasn't just storing architect technology. It was evaluating whether humanity was ready to inherit it. There's something else, Marcus continued, his voice barely above a whisper. The processing spike 3 days ago? It wasn't just analyzing human tech. It was analyzing me specifically. My problem-solving patterns, my approach to unknown technology, my willingness to work with systems I don't fully understand. And, what did it conclude? Marcus looked at his scanner, then, at the pulsing crystalline nodes surrounding them. I think it concluded that I passed the test. But, now it's moving to phase 2. Which is integration. Marcus pointed to a new energy signature that had appeared on his scanner. The building is now attempting to establish a direct interface with my neural patterns. HFY's mandibles clicked in alarm. It wants to connect with your mind? More than that. I think it wants to upload the collective knowledge of the architects directly into human consciousness. Not just mine, but humanity as a whole. That would change everything, Marcus finished. Human technology would advance by thousands of years overnight. We'd go from being the newest members of galactic civilization to potentially the most advanced. HFY stared at the crystalline processors, their pulsing light reflecting off her compound eyes. Or it could destroy human consciousness entirely. Architect minds were far more complex than any current species. The knowledge transfer could overwhelm human neural capacity. Marcus nodded soberly. That's the risk. But, I don't think we have a choice. The building has already begun the interface protocol. Look. He showed her his scanner display. The neural interface signature was growing stronger by the minute. How long do we have? ZYXthera asked. Hours. Maybe less. Marcus looked around the basement at the alien technology that surrounded them. The question is, do we try to stop it, or do we trust that the architects knew what they were doing when they designed this test? Can it be stopped? Marcus considered the question seriously. Maybe. I could try to overload the system, force a shutdown. But that would probably destroy everything here. All the technology, all the knowledge, all the potential benefits. Gone forever. And if we allow the interface to proceed? Then, we find out whether humans are really ready to be the architect's successors. Or whether we're just the next species to disappear trying. ZYXthera moved closer to Marcus, her forearms extended in what he had learned was a gesture of support among her people. What does your human intuition tell you? Marcus looked at the pulsing lights, listened to the subtle hum of technology beyond his full understanding, and felt the weight of a decision that would affect not just him, not just humanity, but potentially the entire galaxy. It tells me that the architects didn't disappear, he said quietly. They evolved. And maybe they left this technology behind not to replace them, but to help us evolve too. Then, you will allow the interface? Marcus took a deep breath, thinking of all the human innovations that had seemed impossible until someone tried them. Space flight. Quantum mechanics. Artificial intelligence. Faster than light travel. All achieved by humans who had refused to accept that something couldn't be done. I'm going to do more than allow it, he said. I'm going to help it succeed. The crystalline nodes pulsed brighter, as if responding to his decision. In the depths of the alien technology, something vast and ancient stirred to life, preparing to bridge the gap between two civilizations separated by centuries and completely different ways of thinking. Marcus just hoped he was right about humanity's ability to adapt to anything. The interface began at exactly 1447 Galactic Standard Time. Marcus had positioned himself in the center of the crystalline array, his scanner recording everything as the building's ancient systems came fully online for the first time in 3 centuries. Neural pathway established, he reported to ZYXthera, who monitored from a safe distance with recording equipment of her own. I can feel something. Like a whisper at the edge of my thoughts. The crystalline nodes around him pulsed in complex patterns, and Marcus suddenly understood that they weren't just processing his neural patterns. They were teaching him how to communicate with them. The first wave of information hit him like a gentle tide. Not overwhelming, but persistent and strange. Mathematical concepts that his mind shouldn't have been able to grasp suddenly made perfect sense. The relationship between quantum mechanics and biological processes. The way consciousness itself could be used as a computational medium. Status report, ZYXthera called. It's incredible, Marcus breathed. I can see how all the power systems in this building work together. Not just the mechanics of it, but the underlying principles. The architects didn't just build technology. They built symphonies of physical law. The second wave brought practical knowledge. How to manipulate matter at the subatomic level using nothing but focused intention and properly calibrated energy fields. How to create stable wormholes for faster-than-light communication. How to build computers that used quantum uncertainty as a processing advantage rather than an obstacle. But it was the third wave that changed everything. Instead of more technical knowledge, Marcus suddenly found himself experiencing memories that weren't his own. He was standing on a world of crystalline towers that sang in harmony with stellar radiation. He was part of a collective consciousness that spanned multiple galaxies, sharing thoughts and discoveries instantaneously across impossible distances. He was an architect. Marcus. ZYXthera's voice sounded distant, filtered through layers of alien perception. Your neural activity is spiking dangerously. But Marcus wasn't drowning in the experience. Instead, something uniquely human was happening. Rather than being overwhelmed by the vast alien consciousness touching his mind, he was adapting it. Taking the collective knowledge of the architects and filtering it through human creativity, human stubbornness, human refusal to accept that some things were impossible. "I'm okay," he called back, his voice echoing strangely in the crystalline chamber. "More than okay. I think I understand what happened to them." The architects hadn't disappeared. They had transcended physical existence entirely, becoming beings of pure information and energy. But, in doing so, they had lost something essential: the ability to create truly new things. As perfect beings of logic and knowledge, they could no longer innovate in the chaotic, impossible ways that led to genuine breakthroughs. They became too advanced, Marcus explained, his consciousness now spanning both human and architect perspectives. They could manipulate reality itself, but they couldn't surprise themselves anymore. Every solution they conceived was predictable, based on perfect logic and complete knowledge. That was why they had seeded the galaxy with their technology and then waited. They needed younger species still capable of true innovation, to carry their knowledge forward in ways they themselves could no longer imagine. "And humans?" ZYX-Thera asked. Marcus laughed, the sound carrying harmonics that shouldn't have been possible from a human throat. "Humans specialize in impossible solutions. We're perfectly imperfect. We know enough to understand the problems, but not enough to know why our solutions shouldn't work." The fourth wave of knowledge brought understanding of the building's true purpose. It wasn't just a test. It was a gift. Every species in the galaxy could potentially benefit from architect knowledge, but humans could do something more. They could build upon it. "The integration is stabilizing," Marcus reported. "I'm not becoming an architect. I'm becoming something new. Human creativity guided by architect knowledge. And the risk of mental overload? Gone. The human mind doesn't try to contain all the knowledge at once. We compartmentalize, we prioritize, we focus on what we need when we need it. The architect knowledge is there, but I'm accessing it like a library, not trying to memorize every book." Marcus opened his eyes, and ZYX-Thera gasped. His pupils had taken on a subtle crystalline quality, reflecting light in patterns that spoke of vast computational processes running behind his consciousness. But his smile was entirely human. "So what happens now?" ZYX-Thera asked. Marcus stood up slowly, his body humming with energy that felt both foreign and natural. "Now we build bridges." The architects left knowledge caches like this one all over the galaxy, waiting for species advanced enough to activate them but creative enough to improve upon them. How many caches? Thousands. Each one designed to interface with different types of consciousness, different approaches to problem solving. Marcus's enhanced perception could now see the building's connection to a vast network spanning multiple star systems. But humans are unique. We're the first species that can not only access architect knowledge, but combine it with our own innovations to create something entirely new. What will you create? Marcus walked over to the power distribution panel that had started this whole adventure. With his new understanding, he could see exactly how to optimize the building systems. But more than that, he could see how to improve them. Better integration protocols, he said, placing his hands on the crystalline interface. Ways to make alien technologies work together that the architects never considered because they were too logical to try them. The building systems responded to his touch, reconfiguring themselves according to principles that combined architect perfection with human audacity. Power efficiency improved by 300%. System failures became impossible rather than just unlikely. And new capabilities emerged that neither human nor architect engineering could have achieved alone. The Galactic Council will want to know about this, ZYX-Thera said. They already do. The building has been sending them reports all along. Marcus grinned. But now the reports are about humanity's success, not just our potential. And what will humanity do with architect knowledge? Marcus considered the question, his enhanced mind already seeing possibilities that stretched across centuries. What humans always do with new knowledge. We'll break it, rebuild it, improve it, and share it. We'll find applications the architects never imagined, solve problems in ways that shouldn't work but do anyway. And the other species in the galaxy? Will benefit. Architect knowledge filtered through human creativity doesn't just advance human civilization. It advances everyone. Marcus gestured at the building around them. This place isn't just a human facility now. It's a research center where any species can come to learn how human innovation can enhance their own technology. ZYX Theros mandibles clicked in what Marcus now recognized as amazement. You would share this knowledge freely? That's what humans do. We're not trying to replace the architects or dominate the galaxy. We're trying to make things better for everyone. Marcus's crystalline-touched eyes reflected the gentle light of the building's perfectly balanced systems. The architects gave us their knowledge. The least we can do is pay it forward. Over the following weeks, word spread quietly through certain channels of the Galactic Council. Humanity had passed the architect test, not by becoming more like the ancient civilization, but by remaining uniquely human. The building on Kepler 442b became the first of many research stations where human engineers worked alongside alien scientists to unlock the potential of architect technology. Marcus found himself at the center of a revolution he had never intended to start. But, as he worked each day to solve impossible problems with solutions that shouldn't have functioned, he realized that this was exactly what humanity was meant to do in the galaxy. Not to replace other species, but to inspire them. Not to dominate with superior technology, but to show that there was always another way to approach any problem. And, in the end, that uniquely human perspective became humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy. The architects had given them knowledge. Humans gave everyone else something far more valuable: the courage to imagine the impossible and the stubborn refusal to give up until they made it real. The building hummed around them, its systems now running at peak efficiency while continuously adapting and improving themselves. And, somewhere in the quantum depths of its crystalline processors, the lingering consciousness of the architects watched with something that might have been pride as their knowledge bloomed into forms they could never have conceived. Marcus smiled as he worked, knowing that this was just the beginning. Across the galaxy, other humans were awakening other caches, each bringing their own unique approach to problems that had waited centuries for someone crazy enough to solve them. It was, he reflected, a very human way to honor the legacy of the most advanced civilization the galaxy had ever known. By refusing to be limited by how advanced it was.